Chosen one, even when no one saw, no one believed, no one understood, you were never unseen. God saw everything, every whispered fear, every sleepless night, every tear that fell in secret. Nothing escaped his gaze, nothing. Not the betrayal, not the silence, not the moments you carried alone as if the weight of the world were yours to bear. You may have asked, why me? Why now? Why this pain? And yet, even in the shadows where your heart felt abandoned, heaven was watching. Every injustice, every hidden attack, every word left unsaid, it was all written in the scrolls of divine purpose. What looked unnoticed was never forgotten. What felt delayed was perfectly timed. And chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, and comment if your spirit is already responding, because this message is about to speak directly to you. This is more than a video. It is a divine whisper, a celestial alignment, a confirmation that your waiting season is not in vain. Let your soul lean in and receive what has been prepared for you. Do you feel it? That quiet stir in your spirit, the rising sense that something long hidden is about to surface. That's the hand of heaven, touching your life, reminding you that justice is coming. It doesn't come in anger, it doesn't come in haste, it comes in perfect, unshakable truth. And every moment you thought was lost or ignored, God recorded it. Every tear, every struggle, every betrayal, it was never wasted. It is the soil from which your vindication will grow. Tonight, chosen one, the unseen will be revealed. The silence that haunted you will transform into your witness. The pain that threatened to define you will become the proof that God has been orchestrating every detail of your life with precision, patience, and profound love. Stay close, lean in, because what you are about to hear is not just a message. It is your divine appointment, your moment of awakening, your prophecy unfolding. Justice is coming, and you will see it. Chosen one. Have you ever felt that your pain was too heavy to share, that the moments that broke you were too private, too intimate for anyone else to understand? You carried burdens that no one noticed, wore silence as a shield, and sometimes even questioned whether your suffering had meaning. But listen carefully. God saw everything you never explained. Every tear you swallowed, every scream trapped behind your chest, every silent night spent wrestling with doubt. None of it went unnoticed. Heaven recorded it all. Nothing slipped past his gaze, nothing was overlooked, and nothing was wasted. Even when the world failed to understand, even when your friends, family, or colleagues couldn't see the storm raging inside you, God saw it. Have you ever wondered if the sacrifices you made in private, the struggles you bore alone, were for nothing? This is the truth that changes everything. Your pain was never ignored. Every moment you thought you were invisible, every time you whispered your fears into the dark, it was all seen and remembered by the one who holds eternity in his hands. This is the promise that transforms despair into hope, the assurance that your suffering carries divine significance. Think about this. The moments you felt forgotten, the times you were left defending yourself silently, and the nights when you doubted your own strength. What if all of that was preparing you for a season far greater than you can imagine? God's eyes are not just watching, they are protecting, guiding, and weaving every struggle into a tapestry of purpose. Every unanswered question, every confusion, every injustice you experienced is being cataloged in the archives of divine justice. What others dismissed or ignored, God took note of. What you couldn't put into words, He understood perfectly. And chosen one, ask yourself, are you willing to release the weight of secrecy, of silent suffering, and trust that every unseen battle you fought is about to be honored? Are you ready to feel the quiet reassurance that nothing in your life has been wasted, that every hidden tear and unspoken pain was seen and will one day bring glory and vindication? Your struggles were never invisible. Your story was never overlooked. God saw everything you couldn't explain, and the justice, the clarity, and the peace that will follow are coming at the perfect time. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why your voice trembled, but you stayed quiet? Why your heart wanted to defend itself, yet your lips refused to move? That silence you carried was never weakness. It was not fear, nor was it a sign of surrender. Your quietness was protection. It was the shield that preserved your spirit while the world tried to unravel it. Every moment you resisted speaking out, every time you held back your reaction, you were being guarded by unseen hands. The storm swirling around you could have scattered your energy, worn down your integrity, and exposed your vulnerability, but silence preserved you. It kept your soul intact until the moment when your words, your actions, and your truth would have the power to impact the world in the way they were meant to. Think about the times when anger, pain, or injustice wanted to erupt from within you. How many moments did you bite back words that could have escalated situations, fractured relationships, or even invited unnecessary harm? Silence was the divine pause that kept you safe. It was the sacred space in which your spirit could heal, gather strength, and wait for God's timing. Have you ever considered that your restraint was more powerful than any immediate reaction could have been? That by holding back, you were actually moving forward, quietly, steadily, invisibly, but with purpose? This is the mystery of divine wisdom. Sometimes what appears passive is actually preparation, and what seems still is actually full of movement and growth. And chosen one, ask yourself, how often did you mistake this silence for weakness? How many times did you feel isolated because no one understood why you weren't defending yourself, why you weren't shouting or retaliating? The truth is, your silence was intentional. It was the protection God arranged so that when the right time comes, your voice will carry the weight, clarity, and authority that could never have been achieved in haste. Every attack, every betrayal, every moment that seemed unfair, you were shielded from their full impact, not because you lacked power, but because God was preserving your strength for the season that truly matters. Silence, chosen one, is not emptiness. It is sanctuary. It is the sacred pause where strategy, wisdom, and divine timing converge. While the world may have misunderstood your quietness, while people may have judged you as passive or disconnected, God was preparing you. He was protecting the very core of your being, keeping your light from being dimmed prematurely, and ensuring that when your season arrives, your voice, your actions, and your testimony will be unstoppable. So now I ask you, are you willing to honor the silence that kept you safe? Can you recognize the power hidden in your restraint? Can you trust that every quiet moment was a divine shield, a sacred preparation, and an invisible victory? Your silence was never weakness. It was protection. It was preservation. It was a sacred pause orchestrated by heaven itself, waiting for the perfect time to reveal the fullness of your strength. Chosen one, have you ever felt that the world overlooked you, that the moments of your struggle, the hidden battles you fought, were invisible to everyone around you? Have you ever wondered if your pain, your patience, your quiet endurance was all for nothing? Listen closely. Nothing was missed. Nothing was ignored. Every action, every word, every hidden intention, every tear that fell in silence was seen. Every moment that felt unfair, every act of betrayal or neglect, every time you were misunderstood or judged, none of it escaped the notice of heaven. Think about it. The times you endured hardship quietly, the seasons you were left standing alone, the moments when it seemed like your life was passing without acknowledgement. What if all of that was part of a bigger plan, a divine orchestration beyond what your eyes could see? When your spirit felt invisible, when the world failed to recognize your struggle, God was cataloging every detail with absolute precision. Every injustice you experienced, every disappointment, every unspoken truth, He saw it all, and He stored it with the care of a master artist arranging the pieces of a perfect masterpiece. Nothing in your life is random, chosen one. Nothing. And now I ask you, have you ever paused to consider that the things you thought were mistakes, the moments you felt ignored, were actually preparing you for your highest season? That what seemed unfair or overlooked was actually a necessary step in God's divine timing. Every hardship, every silent struggle, every unnoticed act of endurance is now aligned, ready to converge into the manifestation of justice, recognition, and elevation. Can you feel it stirring inside your spirit? That quiet sense of anticipation, that inner knowing that the scales are shifting, that the unseen is about to be revealed? Even when life felt unjust, even when betrayal or rejection left scars on your soul, God was watching. Nothing was beyond his awareness. Nothing that you experienced, whether painful or perplexing, was outside of his plan. The silent prayers you whispered, the moments you thought no one noticed, the endurance that felt invisible, all of it was recorded, preserved, and woven into the fabric of your destiny. And chosen one, can you begin to trust that every detail, even the ones that hurt you most, are preparing a justice that will arrive exactly when it should? So I ask you now, are you ready to release the weight of feeling overlooked, misunderstood, or forgotten? Can you see that the very things that seemed invisible to the world were never invisible to God? That every hidden pain, every silent struggle, and every injustice endured in patience has been accounted for, held sacred, and reserved for a season of divine revelation? Nothing was missed, nothing was ignored, and soon, chosen one, the world will witness what heaven has already been preparing, and the justice, validation, and peace you've been waiting for will finally arrive. Chosen one, have you ever wondered why justice hasn't arrived yet? Why the world seems to move on while you wait, holding your peace, carrying your pain, and hoping for what you deserve? The truth is, divine justice is never rushed. It is not hurried by anger, by human impatience, or by the chaotic rhythm of the world around you. God does not act on impulse. He acts with perfect timing. Every delay you have experienced, every moment that felt unfair, every season where it seemed like nothing was happening is part of a divine preparation. What may feel like waiting is actually the careful, precise alignment of events, people, and circumstances that must come together to fulfill your destiny completely. Think about it. When we try to rush justice ourselves, when we act too soon in anger or frustration, we risk harming what God has been carefully crafting. Have you ever spoken or acted in haste, only to see things unravel or create more pain than healing? Heaven works differently. Divine justice is methodical, it is deliberate. It waits until the timing is perfect, until every detail is in place, and until the outcome will bring not only vindication, but restoration, clarity, and elevation. The delay does not mean denial. The delay does not mean God forgot. It means preparation, precision, and perfection are at work behind the scenes, unseen yet unstoppable. And chosen one, ask yourself, can you trust the process even when it feels slow? Can you rest in the assurance that what is coming for you will arrive fully formed, fully justified, and completely aligned with your life's purpose? How does it feel to know that every trial, every moment of injustice, every tear you have shed is being transformed into a foundation for the justice that is on its way? The quiet seasons were not punishment. They were preparation. They were the moments that strengthened your character, sharpened your wisdom, and preserved your integrity so that when justice comes, it will come without compromise, without error, and without delay in its own perfect moment. Now imagine the day when every act of betrayal, every injustice, and every hidden struggle is brought into the light and balanced by God's perfect hand. That day is coming. The preparation is meticulous. The outcome is precise. And chosen one, can you feel the rising anticipation in your spirit, the knowledge that your moment is being crafted, orchestrated, and executed with divine mastery? Can you sense that this is not a random season, not an empty waiting period, but a sacred alignment of heaven itself, ensuring that your justice will arrive at exactly the right time? So I ask you now, will you hold your peace, protect your energy, and trust the timing of your life? Will you wait with faith, knowing that the delay is actually a divine strategy? Justice is not absent. Justice is not delayed forever. Justice is being prepared, not rushed. And when it arrives, it will be flawless, complete, and more powerful than anything you could have imagined. Chosen one, have you ever felt the weight of needing to prove your worth, your truth, or your integrity? Have you carried the burden of trying to explain yourself, to justify your choices, or to fight against the misconceptions and lies that others have placed upon you? That weight, that constant struggle to be understood, is about to be lifted. You won't need to defend yourself anymore. The battles that once felt endless, the judgments that once stung deeply, the accusations that haunted your mind, God is stepping in to clear your name. Think about the times when you felt cornered, when the world misunderstood your intentions, or when your silence was mistaken for weakness. How exhausting was it to constantly defend your heart, to explain your actions, to try to convince others of your integrity? What if I told you that all of that effort was never necessary? What if the truth itself, divinely orchestrated and perfectly timed, will speak louder than any words you could ever offer? The vindication you have been waiting for will arrive not through human argument, not through debate or conflict, but through the undeniable clarity of God's justice. And chosen one, ask yourself, how does it feel to know that you are free from the burden of proving yourself? How does it feel to realize that you no longer need to fight to be seen, to be heard, or to be recognized? Can you feel the weight lifting from your shoulders as you imagine a world where the truth speaks for itself, where your integrity is restored, and where your reputation is honored without you lifting a finger? The battles you once fought in your mind, the sleepless nights spent worrying about what others thought, the arguments you held back because your heart knew it wasn't yet time, all of that has been noticed by God, and His intervention will bring clarity, restoration, and honor in ways that words alone could never achieve. Your silence, your patience, and your endurance have been part of a divine strategy. You've held your peace not because you lack the ability to fight, but because God was preparing the perfect moment for your vindication. And now, chosen one, can you sense the coming shift? The moment when your story will no longer be questioned, your character will no longer be doubted, and your truth will no longer be ignored. You will witness the power of divine justice firsthand, and it will speak so clearly that no one will be able to deny it. So I ask you now, are you ready to step into this season of quiet victory? Are you willing to release the need to defend, argue, or justify yourself, trusting instead in the perfection of God's timing? Because when this moment arrives, the restoration of your integrity will be complete. You won't have to fight. You won't have to explain. You won't have to prove anything. The truth will rise on its own, and the world will finally see what heaven has always known. You were right, you were faithful, and you were never alone. Chosen one. Have you ever longed for a sense of closure? For the heaviness of your past to finally lift? For the burdens you've carried in silence to transform into something meaningful? Listen closely. This season of your life is not meant to end in bitterness, anger, or revenge. It is not destined to leave you broken or carrying the weight of resentment. Instead, it is being carefully guided toward peace and elevation. Every struggle, every hidden pain, every trial you endured has been a preparation, not for retaliation, but for restoration, not for despair, but for ascension. Think about it. How many times did you imagine that the end of a chapter would come with a storm, a confrontation, or a dramatic reckoning? How often did you fear that justice would arrive through chaos rather than calm? Heaven has a different plan. Your season is closing gently, but with undeniable power. It will end in clarity so that every question you once had about your worth, your journey, and your purpose will be answered. It will end in healing so that every wound, visible or invisible, will be transformed into wisdom, strength, and resilience. And it will end in elevation, lifting you above the pain, above the confusion, above the shadows into a place of alignment where your soul can breathe freely and your spirit can soar. And chosen one, ask yourself, can you feel the subtle shift in your heart, the quiet stir of hope and anticipation? Can you imagine the weight of fear, doubt, and insecurity finally being lifted, replaced by the calm assurance that your life is moving exactly where it needs to go? How does it feel to know that the struggles that once defined you will soon be the very reason for your rise, the foundation for your next chapter, and the proof that God's timing is perfect? Your elevation is not just about success or recognition. It is about alignment, freedom, and the peace that comes from knowing that you are walking in the path God has prepared for you. It is about stepping into your next season fully intact, fully empowered, and fully guided. Every step forward will be a step toward clarity. Every breath will be lighter than the one before, and every moment will carry the quiet strength of one who has endured, survived, and is now ready to rise. So I ask you now, are you ready to release the past, to embrace the peace, and to allow your spirit to rise into the fullness of what has been prepared for you? Are you willing to step into your next season with faith, knowing that it is fully aligned, Aminakanai, divinely guided, and meant to elevate you in ways you have only dreamed of? Chosen one, the chapter you have walked through is ending not in struggle, but in triumph. It is ending not in despair, but in divine clarity. It is ending not in confusion, but in peace and elevation. And the next,